This is a starter guide on GEKKO package in Python. We're going to use that for mixed integer and differential algebraic equations. It's coupled with large-scale solvers for linear, quadratic, nonlinear, and mixed integer programming. And we can do things like data reconciliation, real-time optimization, dynamic simulation, nonlinear model predictive control, as well as other things like machine learning and nonlinear regression. So we're going to go through all of these examples here. We're going to start with just number one, solver selection, changing some options, installing GEKKO, just getting started in general. And then we'll move down through some more of these examples as we go through the examples here. Okay, to get to this sheet that we're going to use, we're going to go to documentation, just select that, and then on the right here you'll see GEKKO Python, and this is the page that we're going to be working off of. You'll see some basic instructions for installing GEKKO, as well as all of these example problems. So for example, if you select one of these, it'll expand and you'll see a little bit more information as well as source code. You can also get the source code by going to GEKKO exercises. This is the starting notebook right here. You can just download it. It's blank, and then we're going to work through. If you want to follow through with this, you can. You can fill in the solutions as we go, or you can just jump straight to the solutions. Here's the Jupyter Notebook version of the solutions. So all filled in with different with the solutions for each one. Okay, so we're going to start just by getting this first Jupyter Notebook, the first one on that list, and then we'll open it up and begin. Okay, let me go ahead and close this out, and we'll just start with this Jupyter Notebook right here, and I'll make this just a little bit larger so you can see it a little better. Okay, so the very first thing we'll need to do is install GEKKO. If you have multiple Python distributions, you'll need to, if you start a new terminal or a command prompt, you'll just do pip install GEKKO. And this one will go out and collect the new GEKKO version and install it. And you'll see that it installed it. In this case, it's going to go and install it for the Python 3.6. So you can see the file, the file location here. You can also navigate. You could say where Python, for example. Okay, and it'll show you all the different distributions of where Python is located. It didn't pick up the Anaconda one, but let me just see if I can navigate to that. Okay, there's Anaconda 3. And let's just see if we can find the scripts folder. Okay, and so here I am in scripts, and that's where the other version of pip will be. So pip install GEKKO, and that will install it for the Jupyter Notebook and Spider. Okay, so that will install it in this Anaconda 3 package. Okay, you can also install it other ways as well. You can install it directly from the Jupyter Notebook. Just come here and do !pip install GEKKO. Okay, and that will check to see that it's installed, and it says that the requirement's already satisfied. And there's some additional code that I showed you before. If that doesn't work, I'll just go back to that code, documentation, and then GEKKO. Okay, so there's this code right here. They changed it recently on how to do the, the pip import package, and so the bottom one, the accept, is the newer version that's been working for me on some newer releases. You can just grab the code right there and place that at the top of any script where you'd like to install the GEKKO package. Okay, so let's get back to the script. I just want to show you how to do just a basic solver option. So here I'm going to do from GEKKO import the capital GEKKO. Okay, and that's going to import it once. I also have some other packages like NumPy, Matplotlib, and specifying the Matplotlib inline to be able to show plots there inside the notebook. So in this case, I'm just going to start with a very simple application. I'm going to create a new model, which is GEKKO. And then in this model, I'm going to have a variable y, and I'll just create a new variable with an initial guess value of 2, and then I'll create a new equation as well. And so in this case, I'll just do y squared equals 1. And then let's just change the option here. And this will be the solver. By default, it's going to be equal to 3, which is the IPOpt solver. But we can change that to the APOpt solver with equal to 1. BPOpt solver is equal to 2. Okay, so I'll just change it to the APOpt solver. And then let's go ahead and just solve it now. Okay, and then we will we can print, for example, the value of y. Okay, so that's going to run. I'll just share with you some of the basic options here. Okay, you'll see all of the solver output, and then you'll see a value of 1 down there at the bottom. Now let's say you don't want to display the solver output. You can just say display equals false, and that will just print the value of y, which will be equal to 1. The other thing we can do is if you're on Windows computers, you can do remote equals false, and it'll solve locally. It'll be a little bit faster just solving it locally versus solving over an internet connection. Okay, and then the other things you could do are, for example, change it to solver equals 3, and then maybe you want to display the solver, how it's working. So there you can see it's solving with IPOpt version 3.10.2 with a linear solver, and there you can see that the optimal solution was found. Okay, so there is the, I have remote equals false, but if you do remote equals true, you have access to different linear solvers, for example. Now this is IPOpt with MA57 with a newer version of IPOpt. Basically, you should be able to get similar solutions with either the remote or the local solve. Okay, so that's it for the solver selection. You can also change other options as well. Here's the GEKKO documentation. There's a link there on the page. Here's, for example, the solver, but you can see a number of other options there in GEKKO. And then you also have, in addition to that, you also have the APMonitor documentation as well. So if you select that link, you'll see, for example, here's the solver options right there, and a number of other documentation features. Here's the global options, for example, in APMonitor, and local options. Okay, so a lot of different options, and we won't cover those in this video, but I just want to share with you how to change those. You just do m.options. And then you put the option name here, and then set it equal to a value. Okay, so that's it for this brief tutorial. The next one that we're going to do is going to cover linear equation solving and then nonlinear equation solving.